I think that learning a little bit about physics isn't just to satisfy curiosity, which it does, or to be an educated citizen, which it does. It's because understanding the framework for how the world works stops you being helpless. The lovely thing about physics is that it's full of patterns, and you don't learn facts, you learn principles and ideas, and once you see them in one place, you can apply the same idea in lots of other places. So the nice thing about the physics of everyday life is that you can learn bits of physics in things in your kitchen or on the street, you know, in everyday places, but the same physics makes the big important things of the world run, you know, the weather and big medical things, you know, how we create our energy, how we generate our energy, all of those things, the physics is the same everywhere. So you can learn it somewhere with something that's a bit like a toy, but then you know all the physics that makes the world run. I think that each of us has three life support systems. We have our own body, we have planet Earth, and we have the infrastructure of our civilization. So the roads and water supplies and all the transport networks that keep our civilized lives running. And all three of those systems depend on physics. They exist in the physical world. They're all to do with the movement of fluids and solids. They all involve energy flowing through the system. If you want to keep yourself alive, you need to understand your life support system. And my study is studying the Earth, the middle of those, the second of those three. And so if you want to study how our planet works, you need physics, because it's all about energy. You know, in politics sometimes they say follow the money. In physics we follow the energy. And so if you're watching energy trickle through a system, it comes from the sun, it maybe heats up the ocean, it moves around in an ocean current, it transfers to the weather. All of that is absolutely physics. All those tiny processes, all of that is physics. And people don't think about that because they think about physics being the stars and very small weird things. But this is the physics that makes the world run, and it's fascinating. Learning a little bit about physics isn't just to satisfy curiosity, which it does, or to be an educated citizen, which it does. It's because understanding the framework for how the world works stops you being helpless. And the most important thing is not to know the answers, it's to be able to ask the right question. And the thing is that if you don't even understand the basic framework, you can't ask the right question. And so the reason I think that physics in the everyday world is so important is because there's a patterns, and once you see the big pattern, you don't know everything, but you know the type, you've got a feel for the way that things work. And then if someone tries to sell you something or tries to ask you to vote for something and it doesn't fit that framework, you know that you need to ask questions, and then you can judge the answers. So it's about not being helpless in a very complicated world. So it's actually it's a very deep thing when it comes to allowing citizens to function in the world. They need the basic tools, and that involves understanding the framework of how the world works, and a large part of that is physics.